This is one of the Premier League games of the season. Aston Villa, wow. Unai Emery, wow. The Aston Villa midfield, Tielemans, Kamara in particular, but Tielemans, wow, on the ball. Onana. I've not seen Arsenal's midfield look that bad all season. Aston Villa were incredible. They win 2-1 in the last minute of the game with sub Emi Buendia scoring it. And Villa deserved that. Villa deserved the win. I tweeted about 70 minutes in that Villa have done enough to win this game. They've maybe been a bit sloppy at times. And what I loved about Unai Emery today, and what I was very jealous about as a Man United fan, is he took off Matty Cash, a defender, and brought on Buendia. Arsenal were top of the league. Only Liverpool have beaten Arsenal this season. Arsenal the best team in world football right now. And Unai Emery could have brought on defenders and gone, we're going to take the 1-1. Unai Emery actually could have brought on defenders and said, we're going to defend, we're going to take the 1-1. That's a good result. Unai Emery went, I want to win this game. I want to win this game. And he took off a defender in Cash. He brought in Buendia. Who won the game? Buendia. Ruben Amorim, take notes. Unai Emery is a world-class manager. Tielemans is a world-class technical midfielder. Amorim, you won't play our technical midfielder in Maino because you care too much about athleticism. Tielemans ran the show today. Ruben Amorim, we're 1-1 against West Ham and he subs on a centre-back because he's scared to attack. And when he subs off a centre-back, he'll just sub on another centre-back. Take notes from Unai Emery. He's at home to Arsenal, top of the league. He's not scared to sub off a defender and bring on an attacker. He's building his team around Tielemans because he knows how important it is to have a world-class ball-playing midfielder in the side. I'm not going to make this video about Man United. I'm going to make this video about Aston Villa, though, because I want to talk about Aston Villa and just how excellent they are. I mean, they deserve to win the game, in my opinion. Arsenal had moments, but I thought the first half, Villa were the better team, sorry. I think the beginning of the second half, Villa didn't show up the first 10-15 minutes of the second half. Arsenal came out, they scored. Arsenal looked pretty good to start the second half with. But then literally 5 minutes after Arsenal scored, Villa got going again and Villa were attacking. And what I noticed was the quality in midfield from Aston Villa today, the quality of passing from Aston Villa today. Even McGinn played this fantastic pass in the second half through the Arsenal lines into Cash, who put in an awful cross. But it was just the quality. You've got McGinn, you've got Onana, you've got Kamara, you've got Tielemans. To think that Tielemans and Kamara, you got them for free. Those players are unbelievable. I did a video last year and I said Kamara is one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. I said if Kamara stays fit, he will be one of the best players in the league this season. I said it's his injuries that have let him down. I've done my players that I rate, but injuries are letting them down, and Kamara was top of that list. He is, for me, when fit, on his day, top 5 midfielder in the Premier League, and they got him for free. Tielemans is one of the most technical ballers in the Premier League. Onana is a physical monster, and I think when you look at Onana, it's how Tielemans has athletic limitations. He can't cover ground as well as Onana, but because you've paired Tielemans with Onana, who can cover ground like a monster, that means Tielemans' ability on the ball, you can maximise to its strength and platform to its strength. And Tielemans today was absolutely phenomenal. Tielemans can't run. Maino isn't playing for Man United because he can't run. And Amorim wants midfielders that can run, like Agate, who's crap. Tielemans is such a big example of, even in the most high-intensity league in world football, when athleticism is so key, you still need somebody that is a good ball player on the ball. Somebody that can play the ball, that can break the lines, that can control a game. Because we look at Man United, they bring on a guy because he's a runner. He can run a lot. He can't control a game. He gives the ball away. Tielemans is an elite level midfielder. He can break the lines of his passing. The intelligence of Tielemans as well. He is so intelligent. The way his vision to spot these runs, the movements, the combinations. Buendia comes on and does flicks. There's technical intelligence in Buendia, in Kamara, in Tielemans. It's a different level. There's such a good level of technical intelligence and physical abilities in this Villa squad that Unai Emery has put together and platformed to their strengths, that it's fantastic. And people forget what Unai Emery has done. 7 out of 7 wins. Let me read out these 7 wins for you. 2-1 to Arsenal, who had only lost to Liverpool this season. 4-3 to Brighton in an insane comeback. 1-0 to Wolves, 2-1 to Young Boys, 2-1 to Villa, 4-0 battering of Bournemouth, 2-0 versus Tel Aviv. They did lose to Liverpool, but they've also beat Manchester City and Tottenham this season. Battered Fulham. Yeah? You've got to remember that's 7 wins in a row for Aston Villa, who after 4 games had not scored a Premier League goal. After 5 games were winless with just 3 points. There was Unai Emery out from very few people, but 15 games, they're 3 points off top, having won 9 of the last 10 league games, when you didn't win 1 after 5. That is a sign of an elite manager. The way he's turned it around. That's what elite managers can do. Not Ruben Amorim, who, we're West Ham, it's 1-1, 19th place West Ham, I'm going to bring on defenders so I don't lose the game. We're Manchester United. And you bring on defenders because you're scared to lose to West Ham. You'd rather not lose than try and beat West Ham. Unai Emery, he's like, we're going to go and beat top of the league Arsenal. I'm going to sub off a defender and I'm going to go for it. Unai Emery, after 4 games, saw what he was doing not working and he changed it. Ruben Amorim, take some notes. I tell you this now, because people forget. Villa have spent money, yeah, but Villa haven't spent crazy amounts of money when you think about it. When you think about the fact that Villa were in a relegation battle when Unai Emery came in, he got them Champions League qualifications. He only just missed out on Champions League qualifications last year because of Ruben Amorim, funny enough. He's had Villa in a very good position for 3 seasons in a row now, 4 you can argue. He's had to sell players to comply with PSR. He's not signed loads of players this summer. Like, you can talk about Villa spending money, this and that, but they haven't had crazy spendings. And they haven't spent this money on Sesko and Buma Cunha that Ruben Amorim has. What he's done is, he's got good players, and he platforms them correctly. He's like, Tielemans is an unbelievable player on the ball. Onana's an insane athlete. Kamara is a fantastic player. Those 3 together work. I've got Morgan Rogers that's quality. I've got John McGinn that has a unique skill set. And he goes, I've got players like Buendia on the bench. I'll take off a defender. He can win me a game. You couldn't ask for a better midfield 3 than Kamara, Tielemans and Onana. I think in terms of the balance, it's phenomenal. Look at Villa now. 3 points off Arsenal. Thank you, Villa. I can't lie. I celebrated that Villa goal as if Man United had scored it. I actually did. I don't want Arsenal to run away with the league. I don't like Arsenal. That Villa goal was fantastic. That Villa game was fantastic. And I want to thank Aston Villa for giving me, as a Man United fan, a game of football I enjoyed watching. I enjoyed watching Aston Villa. I enjoyed watching a game of football. I've not enjoyed watching many games of football this season. It's not just because Arsenal were losing, but it was a good game of football. Other than sometimes watching Liverpool get battered is quite entertaining, but I'm talking good football, entertaining football, last-minute winners. Ruben Amorim has starved me of this for a year. Okay, we had a good win versus Everton under Amorim. We had a good win versus Sunderland under Amorim. Not many of our wins have been convincing. This was a good game of football. A fantastic game of football. So thank you, Unai Emery, for delivering that. Thank you for making the title race more interesting. Thank you very much. Thank you for handing Arsenal an L. And wow, I loved his subs. I loved his decisions. Watkins, Marlon, I liked that. Kamara and Onana, wow. That midfield 3 is phenomenal. Aston Villa have one of the best midfields in the Premier League. We keep hearing about Caicedo, Rice, Arsenal's midfield. I think Odegaard had a very good game, but that is the worst I've seen Arsenal's midfield. That is one of the worst I've seen Arsenal play. And Aston Villa did that. Aston Villa did that. And that is one of the worst I've ever seen an Arsenal midfield play. Arsenal have a phenomenal midfield. And I have to say, you've got to give it to Villa. Tielemans running the show. The technical quality is fantastic. Morgan Rogers is a fantastic player. Onana is a fantastic player. Kamara, if you can say fit's fantastic. Konza is one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. Konza is a fantastic centre-back. I've done videos on Villa in the past. I watched a lot of Villa last year because if you know me, if you watched my channel earlier, you'll know I'm a big Marcus Rashford fan. So I went and followed Marcus Rashford and Villa from January onwards, and I was proper watching Villa more the back end of last season, and I was so impressed. I was so impressed with what I saw from Villa the back end of last season. You went on that run, you almost got your Champions League football, when actually at Christmas time you weren't in the best place. And Unai Emery's done this twice. You weren't in the best place this time last year, and you almost got Champions League football when it didn't look realistic a year ago. You started the season pretty much bottom after about 4 or 5 games. You're now second, and you've now beat Arsenal. The turnaround from Unai Emery is exceptional.